Hi, this is Dorothy with Dot Scrapbooking, and I am going to do Many Wishes, which is one of the National Scrapbooking Day card workshops that's on special just for now till the end of May, May 31st. And what I love about this is you get these real pretty stencils. I'm trying to make them stand out. That's not a really pretty background, is it? Anyway, you get flowers and leaves for the stencils, and you get this really nice exclusive card set stamp set that pretty much covers it. Celebrate happy anniversary, birthday wishes, best wishes, condolences, congratulations. You also get some silver gems, and you get 16 cards and A2 cards and the envelopes to go with them. You also get some white cardstock and some peach cardstock, which I went ahead, cuts are super, super simple, but you use the distressed oxides that we carry on my dorothy.closetomyheart.com, and you use the little ink applicators. And so we're using Tattered Rose, Spiced Marmalade, peeled paint, and coral, one of the corals. And I'm also using Intense Black. So that's going to be for doing black stamping. So this is going to be super fun. Now, the instructions say to put it directly on the front of your card, but I am not going to do that. I am going to put it on white cardstock that's cut to either 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 or 4 by 5 1/4 to get a little bit of a border. And so this is what we're going to do. We start off with the Tattered Rose, and I'm doing the center, and this stuff just goes on like melted butter. And so I'm using the different Velcroed sponge applicators and changing them out. I'm not mixing the paints. I don't want to do that. So I'm just kind of going around and daubing in and smushing the ink around. And then I'm using some of the spiced marmalade also to go on the edges of the petals. And also to just kind of blend in the coral. So what I'm going to do in the end is I'm just kind of going through the instructions, and then it says to take the Tattered Rose and just kind of go over the whole flower thing. Now this is just blending and adding a softness to the colors, and it's just doing a lovely job of blending. So here is the reveal. Look at that. Is that just so pretty? I knew when I saw this that I was really gonna love doing these cards, and see how nicely the leaves fit over the edge of the flowers. And so I'm just going to use the peeled paint and just kind of not do a super homogeneous color. I want it to be maybe a little bit darker some places, a little bit lighter some places, just so it shows the leaves. Leaves aren't a steady color throughout. So I'm just kind of using a little more pressure here and there. Maybe adding a little bit of darkness on the inside of the leaf. I'm also using washi tape to keep the stencil still. Now look at that. Is that not so pretty? So I just really like this. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment in, I went and got my stickles. So I have this whole box of stickles. And so this is the pink pearl, and just so pretty. And so I'm adding a little bit of the I don't know, what are those? The stamens or whatever. I think it's like the stamens. Um, with the pearl, the pink, kind of a rose pink pearl. So I'm going to distress the edge with the green, just because I just don't like a plain white edge. It just screams unfinished to me, but that's just me. I mean, if you have more of the plain look that you like, then you certainly don't have to do these extra things that I'm doing. So I'm just putting some little pop-up foams on the back of the card to just add a little bit of dimension. And I've got a little 1/4 inch, 5.5 inch strip that's one of the cut pieces from the peach over on the side there. So this is, the only thing that's different is that if I went with the original instructions, this would be directly on the card front. But this way I get a little bit of dimension. I also get a little edge, little distressed edge. So just for the fun of it and just a little dimensionality. And so I'm going to pick out one of the many sentiments that come with this card set. So you can keep this stamp set and use it for so many different kinds of cards. So this is going to be wishing you well. And I'm just kind of making sure that I'm getting a good stamp with it. And you want to hold your stamp down 3 to 5 seconds after you know you're going to get a good impression. So you want to hold it down so that the ink goes into the cardstock. That's really important to get a nice complete stamping. So now I'm just going to clean off the edges here. And like I said, I just used any old washi tape that was close at my fingertips to hold the things in place, because they do move. They will, I guarantee you they will move. So just have some washi handy. So now we're going to go to the next card design. So I'm kind of going through all the card designs here. See, I didn't use this washi tape, which that was not a smart move. There we go. I forgot. There we go. Now I'm set. So I'm kind of going over the whole flower, excuse me, with the tattered rose. And then we're going to the coral. And I'm just going to go around the edges of the petals. And then we take the tattered rose and once again do our little blending magic. And then you end up with this really soft flower. So we're going to put one design, and it's falling off the edge, so it's bleeding over the edge. And that always has a really nice look to it. So we're going to do the same kind of idea at the other end of the card. Same kind of thing. The distressed oxide, it's a really wonderful media to work with. It just, I can't tell you, I don't know how they do it, but it's almost creamy. It's just so easy, and because it's creamy, it blends beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my flowers, my leaves on the edge of the flower. Change my little sponge pad out. And then I'm just using a really light touch on these leaves. And it's like, well, I could add some more. See, and it looks nice to have the flowers and the leaves kind of bleed off the edge. So this is just fun to do. You can really get artistic with this whole thing. Little here, little there, and you can tell exactly where those leaves are supposed to go on the flower because it's you can see the edges will match. So I put a lot of leaves on this one, and don't know what I'm going to do with this. Let's see. Now there are some little, you can see there's some little 3 dots that can be used for the center of the flowers. There's also a little heart and a little arrow. I'm putting lots of love right over. And it looks fine. It doesn't detract from the flowers with the stamp going right on top of it. And so this is going to be, this needs to get cut. So that was probably cut at 4, and I'm going to cut it down, take a little of the edge off. So it's right there. Whoops. With, and then we're going to go, oh, I think I did something. I'm using the coral on this one just for a change of pace. Now, they suggest that you use these colors. Now, if you have a bunch of different distressed oxides and you want to use all the different colors, I will show you later on the different colors that I used in different combinations. And just to kind of give you an idea. So there's a little white edge around this card, a little bit more at top and bottom than the sides. And so I'm going to take a little bit of my silver thread, which is just a stash item. I've had this sitting around. And I'm going to go ahead and make just like a little frayed tie at the top, just for a little bit of glimmer. So I'm going to wrap it around several times and then tie it. This is also one of our products. This we have it in gold and silver, this little fine thread, and it's just so pretty, and it just kind of glitters. So it just adds just this subtle shine to whatever you're decorating, whether it's a scrapbook page or a card. And it's got 3 strands that make up the twine, and you can just kind of run them between your fingers and the strands come apart, which is great. So then it's just like a little, real soft little edges there. And so to go with the silver, I thought I'm going to use some of the silver stickles and just put some little dots there, and then just add some little silver dots to the center of the flowers. And it just really kind of finishes the flowers off. One more dot. You want to have 3. So there we go for this one. So the next one, there was that one. The next one is this. So it's just all different placements of the flowers. And, but once you have the stencils, you can do your own designs. You don't have to follow these instructions. You can just do all your own designs. So I'm going to cut this one down before I put the design on it. So there are 5 kits that go with the National Scrapbooking Day. And there's also, if you buy If you buy the bundle, you will get 30% off of all of the kits. So there are like 6x6 albums, there's card making, there's 12x12 scrapbook. There's some real cute cards with puns on them that are just adorable. I personally like puns, but that's fun. But you can also buy, if you don't like all of the kits, then you can also buy them individually. So I'm using the spice marmalade kind of as its own flower there. And I'm kind of doing a variegated color, real light in some areas and darker in other areas. And I started off with the tattered rose at the one end, and then went to the coral, and then went to the spice, not marigold, marmalade, which is like my favorite jam to use. So I'm just kind of going in the other direction with the marmalade, the coral, and then the tattered rose on the flowers on the other side. So, and then I'm blending the colors. But adding a little bit more intensity to the one edge. So that's pretty too. So now you've got different colors going. And the little sponge pads are just so easy to interchange with the Velcro. I mean, it just makes it so easy. And the little wooden handle is very comfortable, and just adding some variegated color. I added a little green there, which wasn't supposed to be there up on the card, but we'll see what I can do to that. So I'm adding some background, just like they did on the card. So that kind of takes care of my boo-boo. See, boo-boos are just a place for embellishment. So there's never really anything wrong. It's just a place to add embellishment. I will, just for your technical information, my video was speeded up 250%. So this was actually about an hour and 45 minutes or so. Now I used the intense black ink, but then I used the coral to stamp Celebrate, and that works beautifully for stamping. So I'm adding my dots onto the back, and a little green around the edge just to kind of highlight the edge. Look at how pretty. So look at how nice that stamp looks in the coral color. It just really kind of made Celebrate stand out. So I'm going to put that down there, and then add a little bit of the peach. And I'm falling off the edge, sorry. Ah! Here we go. Get on there. I want to tuck it under, but I also want to cover the edge. So what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to let some white edge show through, and then just let a little bit of the peach stick out, so we get the white and the peach. So I love doing these cards. I think they're so pretty. And on this one, I'm going to use, let's see, what am I going to use? I picked out gold there. I mean, these are kind of warm colors too, so the kind of highlight the happy birthday. And then the centers of the flowers. It really finishes them, doesn't it? Now, when you use stickles, you really need to set these aside for a couple of hours before you touch them, because I'll tell you, they take longer to dry than you think. So make sure you're not piling anything on top. So here's the last design. So I'm just cleaning off. It wipes off real easy too. This is just one of our microfiber cloths that I keep damp, and I keep it in a little craft box so it kind of stays damp. Otherwise it gets hard and stiff. But as soon as it gets wet, it's soft and pliable again. So I kind of try to keep one closed up in my little craft box, and it stays moist. It's amazing. So here we go with spiced marmalade. So I'm kind of doing an overall spiced marmalade look. With a little darker center. That's what's really nice about this ink, is that you can layer it to intensify colors. Now I'm going over it with the Tattered Rose again, and look at how beautifully that blended. I mean, it's just amazing to me how the blending just works so beautifully. I'm sorry, I'm off the edge here once again. And I'm just kind of putting the flowers kind of here and there. So there's kind of a diagonal of flowers going from the lower right corner to the upper left. Just kind of choosing the look I want. And so I'm just kind of doing some layering so that the color isn't consistent. Because inconsistency is genius, just in case you didn't know. That was either Emerson or Thoreau, one or the other. I thought, okay, I'm adopting that because the one thing I am is inconsistent. So this one, the spiced marmalade, and we just have a real kind of variegated color there. And I'm just, if you don't even ink up, then you can keep your leaves real light if you want. Just depends on the touch that you're, the look that you're looking for and the touch that you have. Now this is the little heart, and I'm inking it up with the spiced marmalade again and just adding it here and there. And it just is like hearts and flowers, right? That one got a little smudgy. But it's a handmade card, and you don't want everything to be perfect. That's what we're going for. You want not necessarily to purposely make mistakes, but forgive yourself, because handmade is handmade, and we're just not striving for absolute perfection. This is a nice stamp too, because it's kind of there's a drop shadow on the stamp, if you can see. So that's really cool. And so I'm going to go ahead and edge the little banner, the little sentiment banner in the marmalade, and pop it up. I didn't like that stamp, so I redid it. That's why we have two sides of cardstock. So that's a many thanks card, a great thank you card. So I have to cut it a little bit, cut it down a little bit. And it doesn't make any difference because, we were bleeding off the edge anyway of the of the cards. So you can go ahead and that works out just fine. So let's see, what am I going to do here? I guess I'm making it all green. And then I add my dots to it. Now, if you've got some 3D tape, some foam tape, that would be good too. These dots are pretty sturdy. So here's another idea that I started doing. This is, I'm using my Shimmer tape. And it has its own stickum on the back of it. It's not a 1/4 of an inch and it's not a 1/2 an inch. It's about 3/8 of an inch wide. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on the edges of the card. And I will cut the overlapping shimmer tape in a miter cut. So you'll see what I mean when I do this. So I'm just kind of overlapping them. And tell me I'm doing that off the camera, doggone it. Okay, so here we go. I've got them kind of crisscrossed there, right? And I'm going from one corner tip to the other. So you end up with a miter cut. So come on, please be on the camera. There we go. So the corners just, you're cutting them the same edge, so they're going to perfectly fit together. I want to lift them up at the same time and then cut between and pull the edges, the pieces, extra pieces off. I love making miter cuts. I just love doing it because I love when they just fall together beautifully. So there we go. So I've got that. Now I'm going to take my card and put it on top. So now I'm pulling out some of the foam tape to go into the center because sometimes things don't like to stick to glitter stuff. So there we go. So we've got a little glittery shine coming on the edge. And because we're using glitter, I'm using my white glitter stickles and doing my little, can't have too many stickle dots, can you? I don't think so. So there's that card. So you can use whatever you have for the edges or not put anything. It's just up to you. But, you know, I started pulling out all of my stash colors of shimmer tape, and I've got them. I've been getting them since we first came out with them. And we have all colors. So I would say if you haven't gotten any shimmer tape, go ahead and start getting it and putting it in one of our little M organized boxes. And I've got 2 boxes of shimmer tape now. And so it's great to pull out and pull your stash. Use your stash. You know, that's what it's there for. Don't hold on to it and save it because good grief. You know, you save stuff, it just gets old, you know, like the rest of us. So I'm using the Tattered Rose. And I'm also using, of course you can't see what I'm using, but I think this is the raspberry. And I'm kind of daubing it around on the edges. Then I take the Tattered Rose and look at the blending. Look at that. Is that fun? It's just so pretty. I just think that I love this kit. I just think it's beautiful and it just lends itself to you being as creative as you want to be and using the colors that you like to use. So this is like a really, 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 really good kit. And these are, you know, flowers for cards. I mean, it's just like, yeah, that can be anything. So I've got some more stickles, just 'cause. Now these are a wild berry, which is our color of the year, sequins. And I thought this color would be good with the raspberry distressed oxide. And it is. It just goes, see how pretty they are? They're so cute. And I think it really looks nice. And I'm, of course, well, this one's going to be different. So I'm doing every other color with the green and the raspberry. So how fun is this? Now, I had a lady over who's never done any kind of stamping. She made this card, and she made every other color on the distressed oxide, and it was like, oh my gosh, I have so got to do that. So that was a brand new lady who's never used this kind of stuff. She hasn't made cards. She's just done scrapbooking and basic scrapbooking. And she just came out with this. I'm using the bisque stickles, the bisque pearls. And she went after it and came up with doing these alternate colors, and I love the way it looks. So, you know, you don't have to know what you're doing. You can just get in there and let your creativity flow. And also, you're never too old to learn. So I am going to put my little sponge pad down and then do my congratulations. The sponge pad, the little pad that's with the stamp set, it helps you press the ink into the cardstock even better. So that's why you want to use the little, and if there's any uneven surface, it kind of makes up for that, so you get a far better compression of the stamp against the cardstock when you're using the little foam. I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, I'm just cutting some foam pieces to put on the card. I was kind of running low on my little round dots. So I'm gonna just leave a little, about 1/8 of an inch edge around the card. And there we go. Now we've got a raspberry card, and that wasn't in the instructions at all. So who knows what we're gonna do now. Okay, now we've got wild berry shimmer trim. Now we start to do some different things. So I pull out the wild berry shimmer trim, and I decide I really like the way the shimmer trim looks on the edges. And so here we go. I don't know, you can't have too much shimmer. You really can't. So here goes my mitered corners, just because I love doing them. And like I said, don't hold on to all these wonderful products that you get. You know, when I first started scrapbooking, it was like, oh, I don't want to use that paper. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Well, you end up with more stuff than you can ever use by having that attitude. And what's the point of it sitting around, put away, and not use it? I mean, it's really, don't do that. This is a lesson from Dot Scrapbooking. Don't save your stuff. Use it. Put it to use so everybody can enjoy it. So hopefully you try doing these miter cuts, because they really, instead of overlapping the shimmer trim or just making squares, square to square, it's really fun doing the miter look. So, don't know what I'm going to do here. Some more tattered rose. Guess I'm making another pickled raspberry. That's what that one is. That oxide is called pickled raspberry. I do like it. I do like that lovely pink, bright pink. I don't know. I just, this blending thing has just really kind of blown me away. I just love using the tattered rose as blending. And I think that if you put tattered rose all over and then you start piling colors on top of it, that it's just going to be super creamy and real easy for the colors to all blend together and kind of flow also. So you just need to play with these inks and the stencils. And, if you have Cricut and you have some plastic pieces, you can make your own stencils and do this kind of technique. I'm just kind of putting the flowers here and there. We're kind of doing that last design. So here we go with the pickled raspberry. I wonder what that is. Where'd they get that name, pickled raspberry? Raspberries are glorious as they are. Here we go for the green. Just kind of putting the leaves on, the green leaves kind of light. So if you kind of tap off the ink, if you want to have things lighter, then, get rid of some of the excess ink so you don't have a big blob of ink. And I'm completely off the screen again. Gosh, I hate doing that. It drives me crazy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just adding more leaves. And if they're lighter and then you've got some darker ones, they kind of look like background and foreground. So that's also a way of, now these little raspberry hearts are pretty. Look at that. That's also a way of adding dimension by intensifying the color, and the lighter colors are going to fall to the background. So I'm going to put the green edge around because this is going to be outlined. By the raspberry, the wild berry shimmer. Shimmer trim, we've had them in all of our colors. I mean, just about all of our colors. And we always get them in our color of the year. So that's a really good one to get of the shimmers. But I would say start collecting shimmer trim. Because, wow, is it nice to have. Okay, so I'm just adding, now these are squares from the inside of our shaker windows. I haven't made a shaker in a long time. I need to get it in gear and start making some shaker things again. They're fun to do, and besides you end up with all these great pieces of foam squares that you can use. So here we go. There's the pickled raspberry on top of the wild berry. That's for somebody who likes pink. And then I've got, what is that? Is that taffeta pink? That could be taffeta pink. Pink taffeta shimmer. See, we also carry those, and I have all the colors that we carry in the in the stickles, the glittery stickles, and also the pearl stickles, because I have to have all the colors. I just do. I can't do it without all of them. So we're going to do a best wishes down here. And I really don't like the way I did that, and it's probably because I didn't use the foam underneath the card front. And so there it is on a little strip of paper. I'm going to add a little, going to cut the little banner dovetail. So you're going to cut a slit up the center, which you can't see because I'm working off camera. Cut it up the center first, and then you go from the corner to where the top of the cut that you made. And then you'll be pretty darn even, but you can do it by eyeball. So I'm doing the edge in green. And I'm going to go right over. There we go. Right over the stamp that I don't really like the way it came out. It's not bad, but it just wasn't, the eye kind of disappeared. And that's going to get popped up with foam. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and ring the bell so you can see the different things that I make. Now, I should have put that a tad higher because the little line is showing up. I didn't even realize that until now. Anyway, so here are some of the cards that I made that were the instructions, and then the two pickled raspberry. So I thought that I was done here. But then I started going, I should do some more cards. And so, you know, there's the colors that I used on these cards. So from the pickled raspberry, the tattered rose, the spiced marmalade, the coral. Then here are some cards that I made where I was using different colors. So I used candy apple red, and the blue denim up in the left, and the purple, and the peacock feathers. And so these are all colors that just came. So there's the faded jeans, and that one was done with the, oh, it's picked raspberry, not pickled. Silly girl. I was wondering what pickled raspberries were. I'm sorry. I'm a goof. Okay, there's my wild berry sequins. And then the purple one is seedless preserves. And I do like blackberry preserves, seedless blackberry preserves. And I used green and purple shimmer trim on that. This one is peacock feathers. And I trimmed that one in cardstock to match. And then candied apple is both of those two red cards, where I also used cardstock. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Smith. Thanks for watching my video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and learn along with me. Thanks. Bye-bye.